Knight Rider, a shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist.
They are Team Knight Rider.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Night. I am one of your hosts, TFG and Mike, and returning to the Geekcast Radio Network is Dion the Music Man. Hello, sir.
What is going on? What is going on? Long time no see or talk, for that matter.
Yes, it's been 2.5 years, I believe, since we
Yeah.
the first 6 episodes of Tooncast.
Hey, I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
And for you awesome people out there in podcast land and listener land, you might be wondering, what the hell is Beyond the Night? Back in... when the hell did that get released? Was it 2008? Yeah, October 21st, 2008. They released, Universal and NBC released the Knight Rider Classic Complete Collection. And I had originally bought that, and I had been watching through the entire series again of the old 1980s Knight Rider. And I started blogging, because at the time, in 2008, they had the revamp show, the 2008 show with Justin Bruning and Deanna Russo and all that stuff. So I'd been watching the old series along with what little new episodes we got of the new series. Fuck you, NBC.
Bastards!
And I started blogging, and I wrote the blog up as Beyond the Night. And I started, giving out theories as to what would happen if, say, Garth and Goliath and Carr teamed up, and who did Michael Knight really knock up, and all this and all that. And I didn't really think about it at the time, but we are turning that into a podcast. So the way this episode is going to work, we're going to introduce ourselves. We are going to talk about growing up with Knight Rider and just loving that show, and then we're going to tell you what we're going to be covering in this podcast. God, I'm having issues tonight. So why don't you introduce yourselves to the listeners, sir?
Well, as TFG1 has said, I was here for Geekcast for 6 episodes, and then I disappeared from the face of the earth.
Disappeared from the face of the earth, moved to 2 different states.
Actually, I was in one state, moved back to one state I was in before.
Yeah.
And, so now I'm here, and I'm helping TFG1 with this. And, like he said, we grew up with Knight Rider. And I think this is going to be a fun podcast, TFG1, for both of us, because we are Knight Rider fans, and we're going to be covering the classic and the 2008 and everything else in between, and other stuff that we will rant about, I'm sure.
Yes. Now, when you were a kid, when did you first realize Knight Rider was a show on TV? Because for me, it was. I had 3 action shows that I watched as a kid. I watched A-Team, Airwolf, and Knight Rider.
I watched all 3 of those, and I didn't really Wow, I really caught like things in the middle, like Knight Rider, but I thought it was kind of a cool show. So I'd say for me, I didn't catch the very beginning. You know, like the very first pilot.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So I would say somewhere in the middle of like 82, like October to November.
Yeah. For me, where I really remember it is I started watching at the point when the episode Junkyard Dog happened. It was the one.
That's a horrible episode.
That's an awesome episode, but it sucks.
It's sad. It's sad that like in the first 50. Yeah.
John Byrock and his fucking acid bath.
Ugh.
Yes, and this podcast will be explicit, just like all the other Geekcast Radio Network podcasts are explicit. So
no children under 18.
Fuck that. No one under 21.
Yeah.
You know, really for me, honestly,
Junkyard Dog was sad. When I saw that, I was like, oh, kid, fucking hell no!
Yep. And I think the funny thing about that episode was that, like, the week before, my dad just took me to a wrestling event, at the time, WWF wrestling event with Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, and Junkyard Dog.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, so I kind of link those two memories together at some points. But no, for me, honestly, what I really remember is majority of the end of Season 3, beginning of, end of Season 3 and all of Season 4. I had seen Season 1 and Season 2 in, like, reruns after the show had ended, because it was in syndication all the way up to, like, the early 90s.
Right. It'd been on several different networks.
Yep. It had been on several different networks. And, overall, I really like it. I loved it as a kid. A talking car. Granted nowadays, with GPS and all that it's not really that special. But in the 80s, when no cars talked and this one did, it was just so awesome. And for me,
I kind of like where Glenn got the idea from for Knight Rider.
Okay.
There was an actual. This kind of links them together. This kind of links things together here. He got the idea for Kit from BJ and the Bear. Because there was a talking car in it.
Right.
And he actually tried to, get people in Fox interested in the show, and CBS and ABC. I think it was ABC. I know Fox. I know it was Fox. He said, and they said nobody's going to buy this. Nobody's going to no. And so he goes to somebody at Universal Pictures. And they said, well, look, we understand you've got this show. Why don't you try it here? And sure enough, NBC got into it. And that's where Kit actually came from.
Yep. Now, for me, I had one of the reasons why Knight Rider is so special to me is because I had a very awesome experience as a 6-year-old in 1986.
You bastard.
Exactly what I'm going to talk about too.
I have the picture.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, it's funny. I not only do I have two different pictures, I have a David Hasselhoff specially autographed photo of how they give those like how if you go to a radio station and you want a press photo or something of a radio station personality, and sometimes they'll sign it and it'll be on this glossy paper.
Yeah, it's all laminated.
Yeah, I have. This isn't laminated, but I have a picture of him that he signed.
Oh, dude, you better keep that for some money.
Oh, it's personalized, so I'll never get rid of it.
Right.
But anyway, in 1986, I believe it was the Boston Exposition Center, because I'm originally from Massachusetts, so
that's where it was.
I think it was the Boston Exposition Center. It was something like the the Budweiser Expo or something like that. I forget what it was, but it was kind of like what they have nowadays with like Carl Casper's Custom Auto Show. It was that kind of show. The Ecto 1 was there. I stood in front of Ecto 1. I had, my Knight Rider T-shirt on, and there was 2 events that we could do, and I got to do both of them. There was 2 that we could do. We could have our picture taken with David Hasselhoff, and we could sit in kit. And again, this was in '86. This was the model after the C button and all this and all that. It was the '86 model of the car.
Right.
I sat and posed with David, and he actually, because I'm left-handed because of the cerebral palsy, he actually put his hand over my cerebral palsy hand, and we're in the picture we're giving thumbs up because that was Michael's signature, was doing the thumbs up.
Right, and you and I shared the CP thing. Mine's just in the right.
Yeah. Well, so is mine. Mine's on my right side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other portion of that was kids could sit in kit and have their picture taken. I didn't give a shit about the picture. I wanted to drive the fucking car.
Did this kid talk, or did they get him to talk?
No.
No.
It had all the lights and stuff like that. It had all the digital readouts,
right?
And it had the buttons, and it had all that, and the front scanner worked and stuff like that. But the car didn't talk.
Well, no, I mean they because I know sometimes they would have like.
No, William Daniels was not in the trunk.
No. Like you'd have somebody controlling, somebody speaking into a mic into the car.
Right.
Where you'd hear it through the loudspeakers or something, and you'd see the lights blink on and off as the person is talking.
No.
Because that would have been cool.
It would have been fucking cool. So it would have been. But no, just the front scanner worked, and just the buttons and the diodes and all that stuff. Everything was there.
The sounds?
No, it didn't do sounds.
No, you just have to put
sound. It was just all visual.
Okay.
Basically, look at the season 4 dash.
Yes.
That's the season 4 dash is what was in the car. So that's what I mean by it had all the lights and the diodes.
Ah, right.
All the buttons and stuff. All the LEDs were lit up, but there was no actual sound. And it took the lady trying to get the picture taken. It took her like 5 minutes for me to look out to the left side of the car because I was sitting in the driver's seat. So it was like, I'm sitting there, 6-year-old kid, just flabbergasted, and I'm sitting in kit.
You're like, oh, let me drive this car.
And the cool thing was because it's all LEDs. I believe it was it season? Yeah, it was season 3 when they added the LED pedal. They lit up. They already. You didn't have to press down on the gas pedal. They had already had it lit up so that you could see. Hey, look, this is the actual light up pedal from the show.
Right.
So that was cool. It was just a really really fun experience. A great memory. I'm very glad that I was able to meet him as a kid, and that's a story that I always tell to anybody who ever brings up Knight Rider. What about you as far as the classic? Are there any specific episodes that speak to you or anything like that?
There's one, I would say, from season 2 that really actually kind of caught my attention, and it was called Blind Spot.
Yeah.
And I actually liked that one because you don't see a blind lady driving a talking car very often with a guide dog. So...
Oh, Blind Spot. Okay, so
yes.
I thought you would tune into the other one. Oh, what's the name of the other one? The one with Charlie Connors. Oh, God, what's the name of that episode? The Blind Piano Player.
I know what you're talking about, and it's going to be bad because now I got to look it up myself.
I am looking it up, but I don't even remember what season that was in. Was it in season
4? Yeah. Because it also featured New Edition.
Yeah, that's right. Night Song. Childhood friend of RC3 is involved with blockbusting real estate developer who's trying to prevent the opening of a nightclub. Yeah.
I did see that one.
Night Song. Yeah.
I did see that one. I did see Night Song. They were both good episodes, but the one that caught my attention first was
Blind Spot.
Blind Spot.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I have certain episodes that I absolutely love and I can watch at all time, any time. And then there are episodes that it's just a regular, the way I view it, and I made a list. I'm going to have to go back and do this. There is Knight Rider is something that has continuity, but doesn't have continuity at the same time. It's one of those shows that has those one-off episodes that just really don't matter. And then there's a series of episodes that if you watch them from beginning to end, that it has, a resemblance of character continuity between it. And I'll have to make that list again.
Yeah, but you got to remember, too, that the first two seasons were very good. I'm not saying all of them were bad, but you also got to remember the writing style, too.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's all well and good.
Right.
That's
and
there are certain episodes that I can find ways to tie it all together.
I find it funny. Okay, one of the episodes that I actually did get to see later in life, growing up, was Night of the Phoenix.
Right.
Now, there obviously are cut scenes if you watch it on TV.
Oh, yeah.
There are cut scenes. Now, if you watch it from the DVD perspective, you're going to see things you never saw before.
Yeah, exactly.
And, what I kind of find funny is that, David, a.k.a. Michael Knight, is getting used to a talking car.
Yeah.
And, he's getting used to this. And he's just getting very look, a car that drives, a car that talks back to me. I don't believe this.
Yeah. Well, it's like technology today. I mean, look how far we've come since the 80s. I mean, between iPods and iPhones and all the other smartphones and GPS and all this and all that stuff. I am also, when I was born, besides the cerebral palsy, I also had optic damage done to my nerve. I have optic atrophy with nystagmatism, which basically means that without correction, without glasses or contacts, I have 2200 vision. With correction, I can have up to 2060.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, according to the doctors and everything else up in Massachusetts, I am deemed legally blind.
Yeah, you are.
So, being deemed legally blind, I've been to throughout my life, I had been to a couple of schools for the blind. And just the technology that blind people have. I mean, not even iPhone or any of the tech stuff that we have nowadays, just, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. The technology that the schools for the blind and, all kinds of different blind people societies or, not institutions, but services, like talking watches, like, talking clocks, stuff like that.
The Sharp calculator back in the day, which I still have.
You geek.
I'm proud of it.
So, I mean, technology has come a long way, but yeah, back in 1982, everybody's like, a car that can talk back to you? That's weird.
Well, and then that Silicon Valley was not known back then. I mean, they weren't really. It's not like it is today. Everybody knows about Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Yes.
And actually, everybody knows this.
Mm-hmm.
Knight Rider was ahead of its time.
Oh yeah. Very much so.
Way ahead of its time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because you're talking about a talking car,
mm-hmm.
who it has a personality.
Yep.
And you're sitting there, and you're thinking, okay, can cars do this? And it's like you said, it's like 5 years ago, we didn't have all that. Now they're building cars not like KITT, but they're coming damn close to it.
Yeah. And it's just amazing how far technology progresses. I remember as a kid having to deal with like rotary phones and it was like I don't think it was I think it was until I don't think it was until like 1988 or 89 did we actually have a touchstone phone.
Yeah, because I remember the rotary phone. You had to count so many numbers.
Did it a 4? Did it a 5? Hang up. Do it again. Bringing a little bit of Chris Rock from Lethal Weapon 4 into the show. Oh, hell. All right.
When I saw the touch tones, I was like, yay!
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So here is what we are going to be doing with Beyond the Night, the podcast. We are going to cover every single episode, and we're going to analyze them. We're going to have stuff that we like. We're going to have stuff that doesn't make any sense. All in all, we both really love Knight Rider in general, but the point of our review podcasts here at Geekcast Radio Network is that we analyze the hell out of the crap.
Voodoo Night. I said Voodoo Night.
Don't get me started. Go there. We are going to analyze it. We are going to be nitpicking on certain stuff. So we're going to cover every single episode of Knight Rider Classic. We're going to cover the reunion film, the 1991 reunion film, Knight Rider 2000. To the much of Dion's dismay, we are going to cover every single episode of that travesty that is Team Knight Rider.
What do you mean, my dismay? I can't stand it.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
your dismay. I know you don't want to cover it, but we're covering it.
No, it's not the fact that I don't want to cover it. It's just like the premise of the show, obviously, we all know is one man, one car. Why do you need 5 vehicles to do the exact same thing?
The only good thing about Team Knight Rider for me was the fact that Don LaFontaine did the voiceover.
I will agree.
For the opening. So every episode of Team Knight Rider.
We'll agree with that, but after that it was like, okay, I don't care.
Yeah. Yep, pretty much. And then every episode of the short-lived Knight Rider 2008 reboot. Stuff that we are not covering because it's not in canon other than the frigging name, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Is Knight Rider 2010. Oh my god.
That movie, I mean, once you told me the premise of the movie, I can't stand that movie due to the fact that, A, the only thing that it really has to do with is the name of the actual franchise. Other than that, it doesn't have anything to do with the Foundation for Law and Government. It doesn't have anything to do with KIT.
Yep.
It doesn't have anything to do with that, so.
Huge thanks to the people over at Knight Rider Online because they have a massive Knight Rider database with all the info for all the different shows, for everything. And so the listeners know, here is the premise of Knight Rider 2010, the shit that we will not be covering.
Did we just... Okay, so we're not... Because I know that we had talked off air, but did we just decide not to do this one?
We're not doing it. It has nothing to do with
Knight Rider. I know, but except for the name.
Give the people... I want to give the listeners the reason why we're not...
Right, I'm just saying that's what we talked about, was that just because of the name, it just whoop-de-doo, we're just skipping that one.
Yeah. Because it has nothing to do with Knight Rider, and it was just one little rinky-dink film.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so...
let's get to the premise of this evil movie.
Loosely based on the original premise of Knight Rider, this movie is about a young loner, Jake McQueen, on a crusade to help the innocent and in the Badlands of the future. Because of his circumstance, he creates a special car out of an old 69 Ford Mustang. The crystal quote-unquote interface on the car allows the spirit of a young girl named Hannah to reside in the car and help Jake. Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, where is another version of KIT or something, or, Yeah. Let's also point out that this was written by one of the previous Miami Vice producers. I just thought I'd throw that tidbit of information in there.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding.
Holy crap.
I actually looked that up before they took it down. So, yeah. Not covering that. Horrible movie. Don't go see it.
Not at all. Not at all. So basically how we're going to break this down is each podcast episode we're going to be reviewing 3 episodes of a TV series. We're going to start with Knight Rider 82. We're going to get through all that. We're going to go to Knight Rider 2000. That'll be 1 episode. We're going to go to Team Knight Rider. It'll be 3 episodes per. And then we're going to go to 2008 Knight Rider, which, again, it'll be 3 episodes per. We're also going to have episodes that talk about the merchandising, that talk about, books and movies, and not movies, books, DVDs, music, all that stuff. So we're going to have a bunch of those episodes as well. All of those special merchandising episodes will happen at the end of the show. After we've done all the after we've done all the show reviews, those special episodes will happen, and then we'll have like a final episode closing off the podcast. Wow, this is going to be one hell of a journey for this shadowy flight.
Yeah, but you know what? It's worth it.
Be fun,
it's worth it. It is worth it. It's worth it to go back down memory lane for those that can remember the show, and for those that have never been introduced to it, it will make you want to buy the DVD box set.
Yes. And we are starting this next year, 2012, the 30th anniversary of Knight Rider. I believe we're starting this sometime in September next year. So, anything else you want to say before we close this out?
Nah, that's pretty much it. I think that this is going to be, like you said, it's going to be a journey for the shadowy flight, and everything that we talk about, I think that we're going to have some good points, we're going to have some bad points, and everybody may agree or disagree, or people may send us feedback. Who knows? So it's going to be interesting to see what the listeners even throw at us that we even miss.
Yes, so we're going to head to some ads, and we'll come back to close the show.
You can now hear our show on Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher allows you to listen to your favorite shows directly from your iPhone, Android phone, BlackBerry, or Palm phones. On demand and on the go. Don't have Stitcher? Download it for free today at Stitcher.com or in the app stores. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smart way to listen to radio.
Can Michael Jackson moonwalk?
Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Night. There are several ways to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, www.geekcastradio.com. You can leave the show feedback in iTunes. Please do this. It usually takes, after we put the podcast feed online, it usually takes, a week or so before it shows up in iTunes. Follow us on Twitter. The show name there is Beyond the Night. Mine is TFG and Mike. What is your Twitter, sir?
My Twitter name is ThemusicMan08. Follow me there, and you guys can ask me about Knight Rider stuff, or maybe you want to see something, featured in this podcast, and I'll talk to TFG1 Mike, and we'll see what we can do.
At the end of the episode reviews, yes.
Of course.
Because once we start the episode reviews, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
We'll save the special stuff for... Oh, you know what? You know what?
What?
I think we should cover the bloopers because I think they're funny.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving a message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Beyond the Night and wish you'll join us in 1 year when we'll be reviewing the first 3 episodes from Knight Rider Classic, those being Night of the Phoenix, Deadly Maneuvers, and A Good Day at White Rock. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with...
The Music Man.
Close the show, Kit.
Why do I get the feeling this isn't going to be the last time I'm going to run into trouble in this town?
Social gathering places where alcoholic beverages are consumed in quantity can create an environment in which indiscretion becomes commonplace. Just remember, this is business, not pleasure.
You're about as much fun as a divorce, which is not a bad idea.
I want custody of me.
Crusader in a dangerous world, the world of the Knight Rider.